Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube universe, what is going on with you on this Wednesday afternoon? It is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, roughly 5:15 p.m. California time. I am, of course, your always gracious host, Fallon from GoNootropics.com. Coming at you with the Yogi Positive Energy. Cheers. Good to see all you cruising through here on a Wednesday. Right, baby? Time marches on, doesn't it? Doesn't time march on? We're beyond the 30-day mark. No Kratom, right? We're approaching, I believe, 2 weeks no nicotine, which is... what they don't tell you about the nicotine stuff is they say, 72 hours, all the nicotine's out of your system if you could just make it past the 3 days. But what they don't tell you is the cravings, they keep going, baby. They just keep going. And it's like days 4, 5, 6, you get past your first week, and then it's like a week and a half, and the cravings are still very intense, man. They're very invasive. It almost feels like at this point there's still physical withdrawals. Like I could feel almost as if like my arms are craving the nicotine. I could feel it's like a tingling sensation in the arms and just like a general gnawing craving that I don't even know if it's going away. Certainly on days 2, 3, 4, and 5 were very intense cravings. This is not as intense as those like first few days, but it's still kind of like this gnawing craving that you just want to pop in a pouch. You just want to have a smoke. It's interesting that at this point I'm not craving a pouch. I'm actually craving like a cigarette. It feels like I want to smoke a cigarette. It's like, it's nicotine at the end of the day. But when I think about nicotine and it's like the form I want to take it in, it's like I want to smoke it. So what's been helping is watching people smoke. If you've ever quit cigarettes, have you ever watched people smoke? And you almost get like some type of peace and solace from watching other people smoke. I've been watching David Lynch smoke cigarettes. I've been watching people smoke pipe tobacco, which is, has proved to be somewhat therapeutic. But here, approaching 2 weeks in with no nicotine, and it's just kind of like still a relentless craving. So hopefully this goes away. After 30 days, hopefully the cravings just kind of dissipate and, they go away forever. Because right now it's still like, it just feels like this is getting really, really drawn out. Certainly, there's no real like physical withdrawals with the nicotine. It's just intense craving that really just doesn't leave you. And it's just throughout your day, you just feel like, man, it'd be nice to have some nicotine right now. So luckily, that has kept my mind off Kratom. I'm not really craving Kratom at all right now. Some people say, oh, he's going to crack or he's going to go back to Kratom. And it's like, no, I don't crave Kratom at all because... it's like this level of energy that I have is like I don't want to go back to Kratom. I don't want to numb myself anymore. I'm tired of numbing my brain. I'm tired of feeling not as energetic as I could possibly feel, with Kratom. It's like always freaking tired, like always numbed out. Your dick doesn't work. It's like How is that optimal? Kratom is it's that end of the road substance that's just, you have to give it up and just face the world as it is. And, I can't drink anymore. Can't do a lot of these other things. And yeah, I can't take Kratom. So it's that end of the road substance that we've talked about before. And it's like, going back to Kratom would be such a such a massive slip. At this point, returning to Kratom would represent such a massive slip up, and I don't think you know what it does to you psychologically when you go back to the thing. It crushes you in a way that it's just brutal. It crushes you psychologically. It just makes you lose. It's like you feel like such a loser going back to the thing. If I was to go back to Kratom right now, I'd feel like a total freaking loser, man. Here, and I already felt like a loser going back to it the last time because I wrote the book on it. I wrote the book, and then there I was taking Kratom again. I felt like just an absolute total loser. And so going back to it at this point, part of what keeps me off is, I feel a certain obligation to you guys who are quitting. A lot of you guys are quitting, coming off because I quit, and you watch these videos, and these videos inspire you to quit. And for me to go back represents a much bigger problem than just me. A lot of you guys would say, fuck it, I'm gonna go back to taking Kratom. If he can't stay off, I can't stay off. I know not all you guys see me as like this inspirational person, but some of you guys do, and some of you guys are quitting because I'm quitting, and I'm committed to coming off of Kratom for the long haul. So I'm committed to staying off, partially for myself, but partially for you guys, right? For you guys coming off and objectively coming to that realization that Kratom's just a nasty drug. It's a nasty numbing agent. It just numbs every single part of you, the mind, body, and soul. And the truth is, I have a lot more energy now. But and while there's a lot of this energy that's kind of floating around, I'm waking up with more energy. I have more energy to do things. I have more mental energy. It's hard to kind of know what to do with that. It's hard to know where to go. It's almost like you really don't know what to do with your hands anymore, right? You don't know what to do. It's like, which way do you run? Some days I feel like running. I feel like running and just running forever. I feel like hitting the road on my bike. I feel like traveling across the country. I feel like doing all these things. What I don't feel like doing is working this job that really drains me. All these things, all these problems, the problem with, the job that I'm working, the problems living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, all these problems, I have nowhere to run to anymore. I can't run away. I used Kratom to run away, and I can't run away anymore. It's like, so I actually now in my life have to be an adult and solve these freaking problems, man. I have to face what's in front of me and solve these problems that appear to be very complex problems, but they're really not. It's just, if you've been running away for a very long time, you've been running away from your problems with Kratom, with alcohol, with drugs, you've been running away. You take away the pacifier, and then you're faced with the reality of solving these things. And you can't, there's no more cope. You actually have to create a life that's worth living. You can't just work a shit job anymore because you're not taking Kratom to numb yourself out. So therefore you can't work the shit job because you're going to be miserable. You can't do it anymore. You come off Kratom, you come off alcohol. You can't do these things anymore that make you miserable because now you don't have anything to run to, right? There's not the Kratom to run to anymore. There's not the alcohol to run to anymore. So you have to extract yourself out of the shit job, or maybe you have to extract yourself out of the shit relationship, or maybe you're living with people you don't want to live with. you're in an environment that you don't want to live in anymore, and you have to, for the first time, maybe in a long time, use your brain to actually get you to a place that you actually want to go to, because you can't run to the kratom anymore. It's just these things that are festering in your life. You can't just ignore them and brush them under the rug anymore. It's just like now you got to clean up the mess, So it's exciting to come off of these things. You might be taking kratom thinking, and you're a little excited to come off. Maybe you're watching these videos, or maybe you have another habit that now you're inspired to come off. And in that initial stage, there's a lot of excitement because you know how much this thing drains you. You know how much it's taking from you. And there's excitement knowing that you're going to break the shackles. There's excitement knowing that you're going to break free from the chains. And that's all well and good. Those are good emotions, thinking about how much better your life is going to be when you come off. Those are good emotions, but there comes a point in time where you actually have to come off the thing, You always tell yourself this is the last cigarette or this is the last dose of kratom. And, maybe you've been in this pattern of going back to it, coming off, going back to it. But eventually there comes a point where you have to come off for good. And you're faced with the reality of how that feels when you have nothing to go to, nothing to turn to. And it's been, a week, 2 weeks, 30 days. And, it's a lot of people don't have the tools to deal with coming off a lot of this stuff, to quit the drinking, to quit kratom, to quit these psychoactive addictive substances. I don't have the tools. I feel like I'm lacking in the tools required to live this life because I've lived with these things, with the kratom, with the alcohol, with the nicotine for as long as I could remember, man. This is the longest I've ever gone without my most cherished copes. So it's unfamiliar territory. It's totally unfamiliar territory. And a lot of people, it's just, you don't have the tools. This is why people really don't make it that long. They don't last. They only last a couple weeks, or they only last 30 days because eventually they reach that point where they really got to push hard. You have to push hard to get yourself somewhere else. And that's not easy. It's just easier to take the kratom. It's just easier to work the shit job and have the booze and go to the bar after work and hang out with friends and you're all commiserating and your buddy works a shit job and so do you, and so you spend what little money you have at the bar. And you try to get laid, right? You try to get laid at the bar. And that's, you kind of just spin your wheels. You just kind of spin out, and next thing you know, you wake up, you're in your mid-30s, and you're faced with that depressing reality that what have you really done? What have you really done this whole time except spin your wheels and just kind of cope your way through? And just for me, that's like really, it's no longer acceptable. So I've made the choice that no matter how hard it gets, I'm just going to face the wolf day in, day out, just kind of face the wolf and see where this road leads. Use this energy to propel myself forward and, just try to make the best of it before I roll into the yawning grave, right? So that is the video of the day, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Fallon, GoNootropics.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you very soon. Peace.